Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us. I can see there's a lot of names that I don't recognize today. So that means we've got some new people joining us today, which is really positive. So my name is Chenai Machinjike. I am the founder of EPAC UK, which is an organization, a community interest company that supports African migrant families in the UK. So, as I said, we are a nonprofit organization. Our members are African. Our sort of founding members are professionals, social workers, nurses. We provide information and guidance, and we hold these workshops every Monday, giving information around safeguarding, UK parenting expectations. We are very big on positive African parenting practices. So we talk a lot about adapting our parenting styles and doing away with some of the harmful practices that we may have experienced ourselves in our own childhoods. So these workshops take place every Monday evening at 8 o'clock. So do join if you can. We use the same link every week. We have different people coming to speak to us on different topics, different areas around parenting. So yeah, do come and join us if you're joining us for the first time. So we have our facilitator tonight, Tobi, who is a volunteer for EPAC UK. She is a social worker, a qualified social worker, um, qualified with a master's degree from the University of Abadan in Nigeria. Tobi is a mom of two. She also volunteers with Safe Families. She has interests in children and families and currently aspiring to register as a social worker in the UK. So Tobi is going to be speaking to us tonight about intentional parenting and how to navigate parenting in the UK without losing your cultural identity. So I will leave it over to you, Tobi.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, Chennai. Well, you've done the introduction, so that's my next slide. But thank you, for having me, for giving me the opportunity to, yeah, to present this workshop. Is a great privilege for me, and thanks to the whole organization IPAC UK. Thank you for having me. So the next slide, yeah, Chennai has done the introduction. Yeah, I'm not just a social worker with a strong commitment to supporting children and family. I am also a mother of two kids, and that alone is, I can say, is a big thing in this journey, because being a social worker and dealing with children and family as a whole, you having your own kids is like you are experimenting what you're teaching people with your own kids, with your own family. So sometimes when you're doing something or you're speaking or handling a case out there and you get back home and maybe you're experiencing something in that line, you want to call yourself back that, okay, this is how I deal with the kids. So being a mother also has really helped me. And I obtained my master's degree from the University of Ibadan, Masters in Social Work, Ibadan, Nigeria. Yeah, and I have my bachelor's in Lagos State University. Yeah, I'm currently living and working in the UK, and I'm aiming to get registered with Social Work England so that I can practice fully as a registered social worker. Yeah, so thank you for joining. Thank you for having me on here. So today, I'll be speaking on intentional parenting and how can we do that? How can we navigate that, not losing our African culture? So the first thing I want to say is you as a parent in the UK, the best thing for every parent is to know the laws, the act that is governing the country. So, for instance, our children they go to school, and the first thing they give to them, well, maybe my own kids in their school, the first thing they give to them when they get to a new class or um a new beginning, they give them their laws, the school rules and regulation. Why do you think they give them that? It's just for them to know this is what I should do when I'm in class, this is what I should not do, this is what is obtainable. And as parents, they will bring that home. You put your signature that, okay, I have gone through this with my kids, then I am committed to abide by the rules of the school for the so section. Then you put your signature so that if anything happen, they will call you and you've put your signature, and your signature there means okay, I am going to do according to what is there. So as a parent in the UK, the first thing I want to talk about is us knowing the core principle of the UK Child Protection Act. Maybe at our leisure time, we can just go through it. I just counted out few points, and the first point there, welfare of the child. In Children Act 1989, we can see it is stated there that the welfare of the child is most important. So in your day-to-day activities, in everything you're doing, as you're training your children at home, as you're going to work for those working in health and social care, everything you do, when you have this in mind that, okay, one of the core principles is the welfare of the child is the most important. Before anything comes on, before they will even hear from you as an adult, the safeguarding of the child is priority. That is that is the core principle. And the next thing is parental responsibility. The act also made it known that the duties and the rights of parents in their child upbringing, it is our duty as parents. It is not the siblings' duty. It is not the friend's duty. Neither is it the uncle or the aunt or the school. It is your responsibility as parents. Another says I don't know if it applies to all other African country, but my country, Nigeria, there is an adage that says that it is one person that gives birth to a child, but it is the whole community that will nurture that child, that will bring up that child. But hey, in this side of the world, it's not like that. It is your own responsibility. It can happen back home, yes. And really, to be fair, for people, that adage, what that adage simply means is, if the community, if the elders, if they notice, oh, this child is doing something wrong, they can call that child to correction. Yes. But here, it is your own responsibility. It is our responsibility as the father or the mother to take care of our child. There's no excuse that, oh, but my grandma is around. Oh, my mother-in-law is around. No, it is our core responsibility. The next is interagency cooperation. This deals with the government, the local authority duty of care. They too, they have their own responsibility. But today, I just want to focus, I want our attention to be on the two. the core principle. So if we know this principle, I think it will help us. It will help us to parent with confidence, because if you're doing something and you know the repercussion, if you're doing something and you know the end goal of it, I think we'll do that thing with confidence. It will help us. The next thing I want to say is the common mistake. Sorry. Yeah. After the core principle, I want to speak about some common cultural misunderstanding. So I use this image. You're looking at this image. Okay, somebody is greeting and is bowing, and the other person wants to greet and he wants to shake. Now the guy is thinking, why is she trying to shake my hand? And the lady is thinking, why is he bowing? Those are some of cultural misunderstanding. In Africa, the way we greet, like virtually almost everybody, we greet with bowing. To us, that bowing is like showing respect to somebody elderly. But here, if you do that, you look strange, and the other person might be thinking, oh, what's that? I remember when we just came in newly to the country, and the church we are attending back then in London is mixed. So we have the Africans, is a mixed church. And my son wanted to greet the pastor. So he almost went low on the floor. And the pastor is in Nigeria. So you understand, he was like, oh no, get up, get up, get up. This is UK. Just greet me normally. You don't have to go down on the floor. But in Africa, if you want to greet anyone older than you, bowing is showing respect. But here, just do the handshake or just say hello, morning. That is it. It's not showing any kind of disrespect at all. So I just want to pick out some of the common cultural misunderstanding. The first thing, discipline. So here, when when we hear that word discipline, as an African mother or African father, as African parents, when we use that word that I'm going to discipline you today for our child, we all know the meaning of that. Even before the time, maybe you're like, don't worry, when we get back home, maybe you are in church and you're like, don't worry, when we get back home, I'm going to discipline you. That child already know what that means. But here, I'm very sure half of us, before we make that statement, we'll have another thought that, okay, you don't do that again. You don't have to do that again. And you're looking at that boy or that girl with bombastic side eye that don't do that again. You might now get back home and now revisit the situation. So for in this side of the world, discipline to them is different from where we come from. In Africa, it's totally different. That's one of the common cultural misunderstanding. The second one is food choice, the choice of food. Well, in this presentation, I'll be using practical example so that it can really go down and we'll feel it. It's like we've gone through it. I've gotten a lot of calls from the children's school. Likewise, my husband have gotten a lot of calls. And why are they calling us? Especially when we moved to Northeast. Back in London, the kids they don't really have issues with school lunch. Because London is, at least in a way, the kids they are okay. But moving down to Northeast, almost every week they are like, oh, I'm just so sorry, I'm calling because your kids will not eat lunch. They've not eaten anything in lunch because they said they don't like the meal. They don't. Why is it like that? Because the kind of food they are used to is different from here. Is the food not good? No. Is the food bad? No. But because it's a cultural thing, they are not that used to it. So what we now started doing at home is to start making that kind of food, infusing it into our own meal. Like now, if we want to fry egg, we'll put a little bit of cheese inside, just for them to, it's not that they can't go to school with unpacked lunch, but it's still part of them infusing into the system. Another cultural misunderstanding I want to talk about is privacy. An average African child, for me, I grew up in a family that we only have just one room. Although that time we were four, then when we moved to two-room, we my mom gave birth again. So in total, we are six living in one room. You can't try that here. The way they see privacy is different entirely to the way we see privacy in Nigeria. So, as an African parent, we need to know that cultural misunderstanding. Although coming down here, I feel an average person will want to take, okay, two-bedroom apartment. But if you started the way I did, coming to England, the year I came in, the only apartment we could see that year was a shared apartment. And it was six families. So imagine six different family, and one family might have three children in their own room, the father and the mother. Another family might have two. I had two also, shared apartment. So I think it's rare for most people to have that kind of situation. But coming in newly, before you could get a normal apartment, because most of all these agents want to tell you, "Oh, we need 6 months pay slip, we need this." But you that you're coming in newly, where do you want to get that? So the way they take privacy is different from the way we do in Africa. So that's also one of the cultural misunderstanding. Another one is independence. In Africa, once you are 12 years old, 12 is even too far. Once you are 8 years old, you have the list of the house chores you must do, and you dare not miss it. The day you miss one, you already know the repercussion. And a 13-year-old child, 14-year-old child already have that thing inbuilt. It's inbuilt. It's not that you want to form it. It's because of the upbringing. You can stand on your own. It's not that you're living alone, but there are some things that you can do by yourself. But here, you can't say, "Oh, my child is 12," and you want to leave that child alone in the house. You know that you're calling for trouble. So it's different. Another thing I want to say is respect is like is not in the same flow at all. It's not. I've explained that using this picture. So I feel that's more explanatory. Another one is aggression. I feel everybody should have encountered this because the way we talk now, the way I'm talking now in this presentation, if an average European should see me, and as an African, the more we talk, the more we get engaged, it's like our voice is increasing and increasing. To them, it will be like, "Calm down, you're raising your voice, calm down." Am I raising my voice to disrespect you? No. Because to us, when we talk, the louder our voice, the more fun and lovely the conversation is. But here, they may tag it as aggression. So when parents have maybe safeguarding issue, and maybe a social worker invites the parents over and they are discussing with them, they will start saying, "You're raising your voice." And at that moment, guess what? They will note it down that means what that child said is true, because the child is saying, "Mommy used to shout at me, mommy used to do this, and when I was having a conversation with her, truly she was raising her voice." And are you raising your voice? You're raising your voice normally, but that is how we talk. So now, for me as an individual, I'm learning it. When I'm talking at work, I talk like a dove. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. When I start noticing that this conversation is getting interesting, I'll be like, Toby, calm down. Don't let them tell you you're raising your voice. So there are a lot of cultural misunderstanding. I just put this up. I can't say everything actually. So the next slide. So after knowing some of this cultural misunderstanding, what are UK expectation? Because it's one thing to know the core principle, is another thing to know those cultural, those misunderstanding, misconception, and is another thing as parents, as individual, to know, okay, what are they expecting from us? Okay, what are they expecting from me as a mother to my child? What are they expecting from me as a father? So I just listed few out here. Behavior and relationship support. This cannot be overemphasized. You are needed. Once you are a mother, once you are a father, once you are a carer, you are needed. Either you're working, there's no excuse. You don't have any excuse that, oh, because work was stressful today, so because of that, I couldn't do the kids. And the weather is cold now, we can't the laundry. There's no excuse. What they expected is that this child must come to school well looking, well presentable. Not that the child will go to school with wet clothes and you are like, oh, because I went to work, or the radiator stopped working. There's no excuse in this side of the world. There's no excuse. Behavior and relationship support, that is one of their expectation. Another thing is safeguarding. Ha. Once safeguarding start ringing, and do you know one thing? Safeguarding doesn't come once. It's not something that, oh, it happens by accident. Although there are some that it's just once, but most schools, they note down everything. It's like they are piling it up for you. They are just looking for just one day, just one incident to strike. And man, that is when you feel like, what? So all these things, so they are noting all this down to the minutest thing that even as parents you might not take note of. You might feel you might want to overlook it, but the day they bring out the list, that's when we know that, oh, this is serious. So that's also one of UK expectation. Another thing is education. Yeah, this we all know. Once your child miss school for 2 days, you will give explanation. In fact, there are fines to when kids when they miss school. Depending, it varies actually from one school to the other. So my kids' former school back in London, they don't collect car. It's not monetary. So your fine is different. I've never gone through that before. So I don't really know the fine, but there's always fine to everything. But here in Northeast, is monetary. There's an amount you pay when your child is sick, you must ring the school. Oh, my child won't come to school today because we've gone to the GP. You won't say your child is not feeling too well and you feel, let that child stay at home today. No, you must back it up with, oh, I've ring the GP. The GP said this and that. Although I think most parents most parents in the UK will want their kids to go to school, because if they don't go to school, how will you go to work? That's by the way. Then another thing is supervision. So supervision goes in line. In short, all these points, they all goes in line with each other. You can't miss one. Once you start missing one out of it, it's like they are interwoven. It's like once you remove one of the the rope joining them together, then everything will fall off. You don't want to miss one out of this. Then emotional stability. We need it to start training our kids, and even we ourselves as adults, as parents, we need that emotional stability. They expected it from us. It's part of the UK's expectation. And they don't want to know how you want to achieve. It's more than this. I just point out these points. They don't want to know how you want to do it, but it's part of their expectation. Yeah, just a few points. Expectation include positive behavior management, encouraging cooperation, empathy, and independence. Expectation also include no physical punishment. Thank God we have our registered social worker here. So after there will be question and answer, because I read one of the article. It says in Wales and Northern Ireland is illegal to give any child physical punishment. And I read that in England, you can punish a child, but there must not be any physical injury. And I read in another place, it says even in England, it's illegal. So it's different articles saying different thing. But my dear parents, no physical punishment. Let's just take it like that. I know we are African, but if I can do it as a mom and my husband can do it as a father, I believe we can all do it. It's getting to how many years now? I've not whipped or spanked or I've not done that. Was it easy? No. But did I achieve it? Yes, it is achievable. Don't worry, there's still more to talk about in with this. Then the last thing I listed here is teaching social skills through modeling and guidance. We are the book these young ones are reading. As parents, we are their role model. They might ask them outside and they might call somebody else as their role model. But let's be sincere with ourselves. We are their role model. They are looking up to us. There are a lot of videos online that they want to mimic their parents and they will do it perfectly. So even though they are being taught in school, but we should teach them skills. You might not want to sit them down, but we should teach them through model and guidance. I'll go to the next slide. Now we are going deeply into the topic navigating parenting as a migrant parent. So I know we have different country, but we are generalizing it Africa in a whole. So that's why I have the map of Africa there, so we can see it. And this is us. This is our culture. Now, the first thing I want to say is parenting is tough. We need to know that it's tough. It's challenging. It's time consuming. It's expensive. It's sacrificial. And guess what? It's rewarding. So if we can put this at the back of our mind when going through this parenting, that is tough, especially in this side of the world, that is challenging. You will have to reduce your working hours because you want to have time for your kids. It's time consuming. You have to sleep late in the night and wake up very early in the morning to do school runs. It's expensive. You won't want them to look rough or look unkept, even though you want to buy in charity shop. Now, even in charity shop, it's looking expensive. And guess what? It's sacrificial. You want to cancel your work, you want to pause your own ambition, your own career. I know a friend of mine, she's a medical doctor. She gave birth to twins in Nigeria before coming here. The husband is also a medical doctor. Guess what? She had to hold on, she had to pause that. And since she got to this country, she hasn't been working. She hasn't been practicing, let me put. The husband has obviously been working. It's sacrificial because how do you want to do it? Both of you doing full-time job? I'm not sure it's possible. Is either one is doing night shift, the other is. See, no matter the explanation, is sacrificial. Parenting is sacrificial. And guess what? Is also rewarding. So when we put all this in mind, it's like there is a spring under our feet that keeps us going. When you remember, okay, what I'm doing, even though it's tough, even though it's challenging, even though it's time consuming, even though it's expensive, even though I'm sacrificing all, but guess what? It's rewarding. It will be like the spring on your feet, and it keeps you going, keeps you going, keeps you pushing. And when we have that at the back of our mind, the next thing you want to know is, what are those practical steps to parent in this side of the world as a migrant parent? I have a lot of practical steps, and I listed this step because I've tried them, it's working for me, and I have some other parents around. I can say, because we are friends, even though we are migrants here, our kids, they are doing well. And I'm very sure of almost everybody listening to me now. Our kids are thriving, they are doing well. So this practical step is one of those things that has helped me and is still helping me. And I just feel to share. Yeah, I knew I skipped one. So the first thing is seek knowledge. Seek knowledge. Talk to experienced parents. This can, in fact, this is like the big one up holding others, because when you have knowledge of a system, is like the first thing I said. You can, even though you're missing it, you can't miss it 100%. And when you feel, oh, it's like I'm missing it, guess what? You have people you can talk to. EPAC UK, Chena, she's here. She has been helping modeling parents, African parents. Yeah, she's been there helping people, a lot of people. She has helped them with social services, with safeguarding issue, because of what? Even though she's a professional, but she has that experience. And also, she will now back it up with the laws, with the acts of the country. So let's seek knowledge. Don't be too shy, or don't be too carried away that, oh, because I'm new here, oh, I don't want any problem. No, let's speak up, let's talk to experienced parents. Also, join reputable community. Oh, I'm so grateful for the community I am. In church, we have this community also. We have this WhatsApp group. Even though we all have our 9 to 5, we all have our 12-hour shifts. But on the page, guess what? Sometimes we'll chat, we'll talk, we'll laugh about it. Some people will share experience or what they went through today. It gives you that courage, and it gives you that enthusiasm that, oh, I'm not alone here. I have my co-sister here. I have my co-brother here. Oh, I'm not alone. Then the kids also, they know that they are not alone. They have other people in church that they can play with. The next thing on my slide says, ask for help. Don't isolate yourself. It won't help at all. It won't. It won't help. Don't isolate yourself. Be proactive to ask for help. I've said that before. Let's ask for help. Although some people will tell you that, oh, when I just came in, the set of people that I mixed with, oh, they did this, they did that. Yes, we know that people are not the same. Yes, we know that some people won't take, they might not take you serious. But because of that, my dear, don't isolate yourself. Don't. And let's ask for help. The next thing I want to talk about. Mm, the slide is running more than me. Me. So the next thing I want to talk about is keep the festivals. Oh my. For us not to forget our African culture in the bid of us navigating here as migrant spirits. Keep the festival. Celebrate the festival in African style. Yes, we can. Look at this, my lovely picture. It's Eid. They are celebrating Eid. Look at them. Are they not looking lovely? Yes, they are. Let the kids know that, yes, oh, once it is Christmas period, or once it is Sunday and we are going to church, or once it's Eid period, or sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this one that they celebrate in Ghana. Once it's Soweto season, you know, let them know that, oh, we are doing this in grand style. We are celebrating this big. Don't let us forget it at all. Don't forget that that festival. Back at home, we know how we look forward to all these festivals that we even sleep. Would have started trying our shoes on. Oh, because ah, Eid is coming. Oh, I need to. You start trying the shoe. Maybe Eid is still like some weeks away, but we start trying it on. Christmas is still some. Oh, we look forward to Christmas, and because of what? Because of the feet of the chicken. That's how we look forward to it, because we want to eat the feet of chickens. We can still let our kids look forward, even here. Look forward to the festival period in African style. Invite or visit families of other background. That's my next point here. You can just say, okay, today we are maybe Christmas, or you're celebrating wedding anniversary, or you're celebrating birthday party. Invite families of other background, or visit them also, so that the kids can also learn other culture. So it won't be um they won't just be isolated. They won't just know only us. Invite other background, like in church or even in mosques. They mix around with other African children from Kenya, from Ghana, from Zimbabwe, from Malawi, other background. They mix and they are like, oh, my daughter will say, oh, we are of the same color, but you are not Nigeria. I say yes. So the child will be, oh, I'm from Ghana. But guess what? We are one. So let them visit, or you invite them over, so that what? They can respect other culture. The next point, I will want us to watch this video. It will lead us to the next point. Is a very short video.
We can't hear it, Toby.
You can't hear it.
Yeah. I think you might need to click, I think, on the three little dots and make sure that your audio is on the video
Yeah,
because you can hear it.
it's actually on. Mm, sorry. Can you hear now? Can you hear me now?
Well, I can hear you, but not the video. Play the
Can you?
video. You're
Not
not,
yet. Oh, okay.
you're not playing it. Play the video.
All right. Can you hear me now? Can you hear the video now?
No, because it's just ended. Let's start again. No, we still can't hear it.
Sorry, please.
That's okay. It might be on the actual Zoom that you need to
Share
adjust
audio.
your sound
Yeah.
and put it to audio input or output rather.
Yeah, that's it. I don't like your hair.
It's my hair and it's beautiful.
I don't like your toy.
It's mine, not yours.
I don't like your clothes.
Well, at least I think they're comfortable.
Your food stinks.
Just like your food stinks.
I don't want to play with you.
Well, at least I've got friends who like to play with me.
What's in your lunch bag?
Normal food that normal people eat.
I don't like your glasses.
It's okay, but I'm not wearing it for you.
I don't like your name.
I don't care if you don't like my name. My name is my name.
You're on mute, Toby. You're on mute.
Hello. Sorry for the for the breaking. Yeah, I just okay. So the video is a short video, and with that, I think we should we should all know the next point I'm about to talk about. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can, but you still have the video slide on there. Yeah, that's it. Your slides are back
All
on.
right. So the first point, teach confidence. So the short video we saw earlier on, I was at home and I saw a video that something in that line. I saw it on Instagram. So I'm not like, wow, I love this. So I was speaking with the kids. So I was asking them, and the way my daughter was answering me, I'm like, wow. I'm like, hold on, I need to record this because one of the points here says teach confidence. In the bid of us trying to navigate and not want to forget our African culture, we need to teach them confidence. And I made that video. My son is not a video person or a camera person. He won't want to. But my daughter, she loves something like that. And I uploaded that. I uploaded the video. And the comments I've been getting, oh my, even me myself, I'm like, I think we need to let the kids know that even though you are being asked some questions, I don't want to call some questions silly, some question, even you yourself be wondering, why are you asking her that kind of question? We should teach them how to answer. And you will answer the question with confidence and with everything. And when she was answering those questions, although there are some, I'm like, oh, no. So I had to make some correction. I said, yes, okay, what you said is good, but you can still say it in a good way. She was like, especially the food stuff. She was like, why will you ask me what's in my lunch bag? It's normal food that normal people eat. I love that. I'm like, yes, because when kids start answering questions with fear, they can start thinking or feeling, oh, is this child scared? Or is there something happening at home? But when they answer question with confidence, yes, is one of the points that in the bid of us navigating, and we don't want to forget our identity as African parents, we should teach confidence, put that confidence in them. Yes, because back at home, they know when you are asked question and you're answering one kind, oh, you know the next thing. And also the next point is make them believe in your leadership as parents. Let them know. Let them believe in you. That see, in this boat, in this family, family is a boat. I am the leader. I am the pilot of this boat. And you need to trust and believe that this boat will scale through. This boat will not capsize. Even though there are storms around, everything is up and down. But hey, kids, you need to believe me as the leader of this ship, that this ship will get to its destination. Another point says keep African language. Oh, we need to. So I will quickly share a short story, and this happened to me and my husband. It happened back in London. So on this fateful day, normally I went to pick them in school. The dad dropped them in school in the morning because I was doing night shift, so I'm the one that picked them up in the afternoon. As usual, I got to school and I got to my son's class and I was told that, oh, Wealth Mom, you need to go in there. The safeguarding team want to see you. I believe no parent want to get to school to pick his or her child, and you hear that safeguarding team want to see you. I said, oh, okay. So as I was going, my son, they said, oh, you can't pick the child now, that you need to see the safeguarding team. So I saw my son on one side. Guess what? I started speaking my dialect to him. I said, well, can you tell me what happened that I'm seeing the safeguarding team? I told him, say it to me in our dialect. So it wasn't straight, but at least he can speak it, even though it was. So I got the information. So when he told me, I'm like, oh, guess what? I was doing night shift. So what happened that morning, I wasn't 100% aware. So I said, okay. So when I got there, she was like, okay, so this when the kids were having discussion in class, it said that, so the teacher was asking them, what are you afraid of? And everybody was talking that they noticed he wasn't saying anything. He was just looking sad. It was okay. I'm like, okay. Okay. So he said the teacher pressed further and he said that he's afraid of the dark. I said, okay. So the teacher now said, oh, why are you afraid of the dark? that he said, mommy and daddy went to work and I was alone with my sister in the room. And I said, okay, why are you alone in the room? He said, because I was supposed to sleep in grandma's room, but grandma's room was too hot. You know, grandma, obviously, she put on the heater. So the room felt so hot. So, and it was so hot that I wasn't feeling okay. So I told her I want to go sleep in the room downstairs. So she was not like, so can you tell us, did you leave him and the sister alone? I said, yes, but in what you just told me, you mentioned that he said he was in grandma's room. But he left grandma's room because grandma's room was too hot. And he said he wants to go sleep in the room downstairs. So in his own room downstairs. So obviously he wasn't the only one and the sister at home. So she was not, and mind you, with all these conversations, she was writing everything down. So after everything, she now said, yes, actually, the sister confirmed. They've gone to ask the sister. So the sister confirmed that, oh, truly, that Wealth was saying that the room was too hot. So he went downstairs. But me, I stayed in grandma's room. Kids will be kids. They won't lie. They will say it the way it is. Even though they might want to add more as kids. But guess what? Like my first point, they will believe what the kid says 100% to what you are saying. If is contradicting each other. So when I now said that, she was not like, oh, although the sister confirmed also, but we just want to hear from the parents just to be sure that this. And I said, thank you very much. She said, oh, thank you. Have a lovely day. I said, have a lovely day. So we went out. I hugged my son. I'm like, thank you for giving me, imagine that he hasn't briefed me and I got there and I'm being asked and I'm looking like, what's happening? Number one, they can put their neglect. They'll put there that you don't even know what's happening at home. A lot of things. Don't let me go deep as a professional, no. So the case, but everything is still in there. Once you already have a file with them, just don't allow any evil thing to happen. So speaking that language, it might not be easy. Kids tend to forget easily and grab the new language of the new country they are living in. You'll be surprised, like my kids, once they are with their friends, oh my, I find it hard to hear what they are saying. And once I now ask them questions, even when their friend is there, the way they answer me back in our own normal English. And when their friend is asking them again, they switch. That is kids. They switch easily. That is why we need to keep up with our language. And guess what? Sing in our dialect also. It's a very, very, it might not be easy. They might not know the meaning, but today I want to say when they are singing, let them know the meaning. I've made it like, it's like I'm trying to call my kids by their native name now. So when people ask them what's their name, you tell them their normal name and they will put their native name. And if you ask them, oh, what does that mean? Yeah. So they ask me. All right. So I put this beautiful picture that even in us navigating, please dress them up in our beautiful attire. Is this not looking beautiful? Don't let them forget it. No. Maybe Sunday or festive period, let them know that, oh, today I'm putting on this. This is part of our culture. Looking beautiful. Both the girl and the boy. By the way, those are my kids. And yeah, before I call it a day, physical appearance is part of our dressing. Let them appreciate their hair. Nowadays our our girl child, they are now finding it hard. They'll tell you, oh, they say my hair is looking somehow in school. Let them appreciate it. Look at how, let them know that your hair is beautiful. Your hair, you can make different styles on it. Your hair, you can make it long, you can make it, let them appreciate it. Let them look beautiful. Put that kente on them. Put that ankara on them. Let them know the accessories, the beads, our African culture. Let them bring it out. And guess what? They also appreciate it here. And travel home if you can afford it. Visit home with the kids. Holiday period. Let them visit home. So let them know that, oh, this is where I'm from. Yeah, this is beautiful. If you can afford it. Now, recommendation as I close. You don't need to give up your culture. Children benefit from both cultures when you talk openly about them. You have the right to advocate for your child. If you feel you don't understand anything, maybe the safeguarding or the social worker, request interpreter and culturally competent support when necessary. Don't let us be scared to speak up. Use positive, non-physical discipline approach. Use positive reinforcement and calm communication. I've run out of time, so sorry. Praise good behavior from your children. Yes, and don't let us focus on their wrong. Sometimes, as parents, we might want to see the wrong thing. So nowadays, I'm trying. When they do that thing, I'll say, oh, very beautiful. Oh, wow. Are you the one that sweep this place? Oh, it's looking clean. Although I can still see crumbs on the floor. I can still see the pack of chocolate on the floor. But now I'm trying my normal self before. I'll say, you swept this place. Are you sure? Come here. I can see this. But now I'm trying to, oh, wow, you did beautiful. Even as adults, we are always happy when we get praise from men. Whew. Now, before I close, I penned down something that I want to say here. It's like a take home for us. And I'll read. It says, knowing the system helps you to parent with confidence. What will I do? Or what will I start doing differently at home? I want that to go with us. I've said a lot. Even if you can't remember anything, I want you to take this. What do you want to start doing? And what do you want to stop doing? And what do you want to do differently? Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Tobi. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I don't know about you guys, but there was a lot there to take in, a lot of useful tips. Your kids are absolutely gorgeous.
Thank
Um,
you.
Thank you so much. And also for sharing your own personal experiences. I think sometimes when we are on these platforms and we're listening, um, it's it's easy to just feel like you're being talked at, you're just
Mm,
being told what to do all the time. But when you give examples of your own struggles, your own challenges, it can be so much easier for people to relate. And it makes it so much easier to listen to. So thank you so much for sharing your personal
thank you.
experiences. I took away so much from what you talked about, and I've been, taking notes and writing down the key points for me that I'm going to share. While I do that, please, please, if you've got any questions for Tobi, there is time to ask questions or put in the chat if you're not comfortable to unmute and speak, and I will be able to read them out and Tobi can answer. But what I took away from this session, particularly for me, was the bit you said about physical chastisement. And actually, I wanted to highlight a point as well.
All right.
When we talk about physical chastisement, it's not just hitting children, it is all forms of physical chastisement. And
Mhm.
sometimes we have, I've certainly dealt with cases where certain types of punishments can also be classed as physical abuse. For example, and I know this is something that is common in Nigeria. I'm from Zimbabwe and I've never heard of it. It might be there, I don't know. But it's certainly something that I've come across with a lot of Nigerian families that I work with, which is kneeling as a form of punishment. Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, so that's and it's something that I come across quite a lot. And that one really, it falls under two categories of abuse, which is the physical element, because it's
Mm,
painful. Imagine being asked to kneel for 15 minutes. That's really
mm,
painful. But also it's the emotional
mm.
harm that causes. So I just want people to think outside of the box. And physical chastisement, hitting your children, it becomes 10 times worse when you use an implement as well. I've dealt with cases where people have used hangers to hit their children, where they've used cooking sticks to hit their children, and those things might be normal, back home or acceptable, but certainly not in this country. And it becomes actually a criminal offense when
Mm.
you use an
True.
implement. Um, Another thing that I absolutely loved is what you said about celebrating festivals. I absolutely love that. What you said about being open to learning, knowledge is power. I absolutely love that. And encouraging children to integrate. Certainly, what you said about your children not liking the school dinners. It would be so easy to just make up a packed lunch and send them to school with a packed lunch, but actually encouraging them to try different foods. It's a bit like us. We eat Chinese, we eat Indian.
Yeah.
We are trying different foods from different cultures. It's also very important to encourage our children to try those things. If you're ill, for example, and you can't cook for them, you know, they have to be able to eat sandwiches. They can't
Yeah.
be children who say, I don't like sandwiches. But if you're ill and you can't cook for them, they can make themselves a sandwich in the kitchen. And
Yes.
that's really, really important as well. I absolutely love that. And the one that I love the most is about teaching children to love and be proud of who they are. And I loved that video with your daughter. Really,
Thank
really
you.
good. Absolutely love that.
Thank
Um,
you.
so I'm just going to uh, open the room to anyone who's got any questions for Toby. I can see there's some things in the
Yeah.
chat.
Someone said, can they have the link to the video? Yes, it's on my Facebook, it's on my Instagram, and yeah, um, yeah, just my name. That's my okay. It's Oluwatobi actually, so you won't see Tobi Kalejaye. The Tobi Kalejaye will bring various people, but the one with Oluwatobi is the full name, so it means God is great in my dialect. So yeah, the
Are
videos are
you
there, and I
able
can
to,
still
to
share.
put the link in the chat? Are you
Yes, I
able to
can.
put the link in the chat? Yeah,
Yes, I will.
right.
I'll put the link.
So we've got some comments in the chat. Bab says, well done, a fab session, Toby. Thank you for sharing your culture, your views, and your family narrative. Amazing, Captain Toby. You are an
Thank
amazing
you.
mom and brilliant
Thank
pilot.
you. Thank you so
We
much.
also have our feedback form in the chat. Please, please, if you can just give us some feedback. It's especially important today. As you know, Toby has just said that she is trying to register with Social Work England. And one of the things that we are doing, although she's volunteering, I have offered to also mentor her and provide her with some of the evidence that she needs for Social Work England registration. So that feedback you give will be very, very important to help. And I'm sure from what you've had, I think she will make a brilliant, brilliant social worker. So
Thank
let's
you.
all help her with her registration. So if you can give that feedback, she can use that as part of her registration as well. So I would be grateful if you can do that as
Thank you.
well.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyone with questions for Toby? Thank you, Babs, for your comments. Right. So Tammy says, have you ever faced any defiance from your children? How did you deal with it?
Okay. Yeah. Well, a lot. I think children will be children. So how did I deal with it? With the help of my husband, I feel it's much easier. So I will talk on my side because of the single mom or single dad in the building, and I will talk as parent also. So my son is very inquisitive. Although all I can say kids are actually, but when you have a son that I can say sometimes there was a day he said something and I had to sit down. I picked up my phone, I checked what he said online. I don't even I'm not sure I've had that before. And to be fair, my husband is my go-to. But that day, I think he was not around. So I picked my phone. I'm like, okay, so what is this? What is this? And guess what? With the knowledge and with the help of God, I'm a Christian, so I put God in everything I do. With the help of God, I was able to say, okay, this is it, this is it. And he said something. He said, but why did you not say? Because once he is on my nerves, one of the things I do is today you are not going to use the screen, either the phone or the TV, because their routine is when they come back from school after doing house chores and everything, they have 1 hour of screen time. Because for me, I don't want them. In Nigeria, they don't use the screen during the week, it's only weekend. But when we got here, my husband was like, no, don't do it that way. So we sat down. He did some explanation to me that imagine they've been in school. What are they doing in school? They are learning. So now they are at home. Let them use the screen. At least we are aware, we know, okay, this is what they are watching. So when they come back like that, they have time for their screen. So once it's on my nerves, the first thing is you are not using the screen. And he came back and he said, okay, you said I should not use the screen because I did this, I did that, but I've apologized. I've said I'm sorry, mom, and you still said I will not use the screen. But you are using your screen. Ha! I'm like, eh. I say yes, because I am your mom. I'm using. Do you know what I'm doing with my phone? I have to read. I have to do this. He said, but I've apologized. And when my sister do something that is not good for me, and I'm not happy with her, he used to tell me that, but she has apologized, so let it go. So, mom, I've apologized. That day I was weak. It's like they will not use your words against you. Tana said yes when you apologize, but that doesn't mean when you apologize, I have to allow you. I'm just letting you know what you did is wrong. And I was like, okay, mommy, I'm sorry again. As a mom, what will you do? We used to say you are not using screen. I just said, okay, thank you for being a good boy. You can use the screen. At that moment, it might not be the best decision anybody could make, but that was the only thing, because if I kept on being hard, it might trigger something from within. So I just allowed him. A lot of instances. There is one, it was the dad that called him and said, okay, son, you won't do is I think I don't know, maybe it's his age, but he knows, for me, I feel he knows more than his age. Let me put it that way. And I feel most of us we know during the Halloween, the slang I was hearing everywhere 6 7. See, my daughter, if I say anything, he'll say 6 7. You know, I had to go and read. I'm like, okay, what is this? I asked her, what is it? She just said, it's just a slang. Hey, I sat down, I read about it. Honestly, I can't find any reasonable thing about it. They came back from church that day, light party. She started singing. And I said, where do you know sir? He said it's from church. And the end of it, he said, 6-7. Do you know what I did? I just say, when you say 6-7, you are referring to John chapter 6, verse 7. And guess what? I don't know what John 6-7 means. I just told her. My son said, so what does John 6-7 mean? I said, open the Bible. And we read it out, even though he did not know that it did not correlate. But I just said, it means John 6 verse 7. So now my daughter came back from school and said, oh, mommy, in school they were saying 6, and after that it means John chapter 6 verse 7. It was funny, but at least I've put that in her mind, because honestly, I don't even know what it means. But those are things that we as parents might not even know, that parents will just come up with. They come up with different things. Sorry, did I answer your question? So handling it varies, to be sincere. Some you will deal with it immediately, and some, what has helped me, I don't correct them when I'm not happy with what they have done. So I just leave it. I'll just tell them, just go to your room, go and lie down. Because when I want to correct at that point, to me, I've studied myself, it won't help. So I do the correction when I'm okay, then I'll call them. Tammy, I don't know if that answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Tammy, I don't know if that answers your question, but certainly from what I'm hearing, you're saying consistency and also apologizing to your children when you're wrong is so also important, because
Yeah.
that's something that we talk about all the time on here. When you are wrong, apologize, to your children. They have to know that we are not perfect, because nobody is perfect. And that's how we teach
Yeah.
them. That's how we teach them right and wrong. Tammy, I'll come to you because I can see you've put your camera on. I know you do that when you want to speak. And then I'll go to Brian after. Tammy, go on. You're on mute. I don't know if you're speaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the reason why I asked that question, you've answered it well.
All right.
The reason why I asked that question, because what we find sometimes with our own African parents, we can be rigid at times with our children.
Yeah.
And our values sometimes don't match with our children's values. So we are not raising our children in Africa, we are raising our children in the UK.
Yeah.
At the same time, there are things that our children may do that may clash with our values. So one of the things that I always have to remind myself is I have my own identity. But as the children come into this country, they pick up their own identities. And there's also the laws, the policies, the procedures that can make it difficult for us to enforce some of the things that we want. So what you find is, I'm a social worker. So at times I've had to deal with pastors, right, who struggled with their children, or parents who struggled because they want their children to wear certain clothes. They want their children to behave in a certain way and to integrate with their community. But the children have started integrating with other people of other cultures, white people. And then it becomes difficult because then you're saying, you need to be in church. Your teenager comes back and says, no, I want same-sex relationship. And this was a case where you are saying, I'm a Christian, these are my values, and this is what your child is coming to you and saying. So I think when you speak to me, most of the times, what I always say to parents is, I will never say that my parenting is the best. I'm a social worker, but I always say, you know what? I can never say my children will never do this or my children will do this, because I know that sometimes as we guide them, they can take their own route.
Yes.
But again, it's how do we balance safeguarding and probably our culture and our religion? And how do we do that? Because that is a complicating factor that normally comes within our African culture, whereby your child then says, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not wearing those clothes. My daughter told me, no, I will not wear those bangles. They are too loud for me. I like my Africans, hey. And this is like, no, they're too loud. And I was everywhere I went with those ones in my African community. Oh, you're looking lovely. But I have a daughter who's at home is telling me, Mommy, that's too loud. It's like you're shouting, here I am. So I
Yeah.
needed to calm down and say, you know what? my values or my identity is not the same
Yeah.
with my child's. So that's the point that I wanted, us to discuss and think, just as much as we are saying this can happen, but being real and understanding that sometimes our children can take on their own identity. And again, how do we deal with that? And I think that's the discussion we need to have.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank
I
you.
think I think Toby will agree that she's got much younger children, so
Yeah.
she's still got that to come.
Yeah.
Because obviously every stage of parenting has its own challenges.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
but I also think that um and that's why I'm always banging on about consistency. It's important because the values you set when a child is young, yes, they may get to a point where they do start to push back, and you have to negotiate some of those things that you've talked about. Because certainly in this country, like Toby said at the beginning of her presentation, child welfare, children have rights, particularly here. We know that children have rights, and those rights are very important. Whereas back home, it's almost like they don't have a voice. And you do get faced with some of those things. Some of it is hormones, teenage hormones coming up. Some of it is, peer pressure. Some of it is a child really coming to their own and developing their own identity. And that identity might actually differ from you and from your values. How do you navigate that? Particularly as a strong Christian woman, as you've just said, that can be a real challenge to navigate, especially the issue of same-sex relationships. It's one that we've talked about here, where parents say, absolutely not. And I've always said, even myself as a social worker, I've been doing this job. I'm very open to it. I've worked with people from same-sex families. But when you think about it, being your own child with my own values, my own upbringing, my own religious beliefs, it is something that I would really struggle with. And it's difficult to comprehend, actually, if I was to be faced with that, how would I navigate that? And it's probably something that we don't even want to think about because it's a very difficult topic. But Brian, I saw that you had your hand up. I don't know if you're still around.
Chennai, while we are waiting for Brian, can I quickly say something?
Yes.
Yeah, so this topic, we can use the next 1 hour or 2 hours to discuss about it.
Yeah.
But the main point, Chennai has said it, is as parents, we can only try our best.
Mm,
Even in Africa, this topic you're raising now, do you know they are also having issues with it in Africa now? Well, maybe not from your side, but from our side, there are issues rising up. There is even one that is still trending now. I know this person personally, and the parents are top pastors in one of
mm,
the well-known church in Nigeria. And if
mm,
you read about what the guy is doing, you will cry on behalf of the parents. Now they are dragging the parents, that the parents didn't do the right thing. Now they are
mm,
dragging the church, that is the church that made the mistake. But
mm,
for me, the only thing I said is that we'll try as parents, but guess what? Are you saying you are what your parents want you to be as individual? Can I chest that, oh, this is what my mom wants me to be, and that is what I am? There are some things our parents want us to do that we ended up not doing it. So as
mm,
parents, we can try our best. And when they get to some certain age and the questions start coming, you won't say because of that you start eating, or the system won't want to hear that because your values are not that. And they've got safeguarding for you. So
mm.
we only do our best. We don't, Chennai said it, nobody wants to even think about it. So don't let us go deep into it. But the consolation I used to have personally, my kids are still young, but I used to encourage myself. And my husband is like, don't worry, we are trying our best as parents. We are
Mm,
training them in the way we
The
want
way they
them to
should
go.
go.
But when they are old, guess what? You've tried your best.
mm,
So, Tammy, I know there are issues up and down, but for now, we'll do our best. We'll let them know what we want them to know. And when that time
Yeah,
comes and they are showing that way, I'm very sure when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true because I think I'll just comment a little bit from our Christian value. There was a point when I spoke to people, and some people struggle to understand my point because
mm,
I
Mm,
said we are raising children and we are Christians. We will say, train up in your child in the way they should go.
mm,
yeah.
But there are times when you have trained up your child in the way they should go, and they don't go that way.
yeah.
And we need to learn from the prodigal son
Mm,
story that the father, when the son came and said, "Can I have my inheritance?" He did not argue with it. He did not say, "I'll beat you. I will do this." He left him to go. He
Mm,
gave him his inheritance.
I love that. Yeah.
But let our arms be open for that child.
Mm,
yeah.
And that child came back and he
Mm,
killed a cow. He had a feast for that child.
that's
mm,
So sometimes we train our children in the way they should go. But when
mm,
they choose to go the way they want, sometimes there's nothing we can do. We can only pray
yeah.
mm,
and let them say, okay, you have chosen the way you want because maybe you're an adult now, but the love is still there.
Mm,
Whenever you're ready, you come back, I will embrace you again. It's
yeah.
very difficult to do that as a Christian, but we need to have that mindset to think sometimes we are in this we are, living in this world, and sometimes our children can choose their pathways,
Mm,
but
true,
let love lead.
true.
We still love them, we still show them the love, because the moment we condemn them, sometimes we
Mm,
lose them rather than gain them again. Yeah.
true, true.
Can I just chip in? Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
yes, Ryan. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's all right. Thanks, Toby, for the lovely presentation.
You're welcome.
And you reminded me of what my dad used to tell me from the time I was a teenager growing up. He used to tell me that, you should know where you are coming from for you to know where you are going. I grew up in I'm a Zimbabwean, but of Malawian origin. I think Chennai will understand. So when I used to speak to my dad, I used to speak to him in Malawian because he maintained his identity, and he taught us that we will never address him with any other language. We could speak Shona, we could speak Ndebele, English. He could speak all those languages as well. But the moment we are addressing or talking to him, we'll speak him with his tribal language. And I understand all of it. My brothers, my sisters, you see. So I'm just driving the point home what Toby shared with us. Although I know Tammy came in with some few additional points which I agree with, but at the same time, let's teach our kids our identity. I get worried a little bit, especially with we black people. We tend of like on the compromising side when it comes to other cultures. I remember years back when I was I think I was 23, when I was a young boy. I met this girl. She was of Muslim. We were young. She liked me, I liked her. But at the end of the day, she said, look, I know you are a Christian, but if you want this relationship to go on, you have to convert to Islam. You see, because I find people like of the Muslim religion, whether you meet them in South Africa, in America, in London, in Nigeria, they always maintain their beliefs and their culture, and they don't compromise. You see, but I get a little bit worried because we always like want to compromise. Of course, kids can grow up here and everything, but they should know our dressing, they should know our food. Because if we want to look at other cultures, look at the Asian community, look at other communities, although they 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 were born here, they grew up here, they know their curry food, they know, they know their food, their dressing. I went to this other Asian wedding. One of my friends, he's an Asian guy. His sister was getting married. I was so amazed. I even thought that I was in India. I even forgot that I was in Manchester. Yeah, because everything, even the decorations, everything was totally, you know. So these are kind of things but these people are born here. You see, they're not losing. I didn't see them. I didn't see anything English. I didn't see anything. Everything was 100% the music, their tradition, the way they give away their daughter, all sorts such kind of things. So, I mean, although it's difficult, but let's try, because you see, kids as well. When they grow up, the more they grow up, you will be surprised that they 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 tend to want to find out about their culture, about
Yeah,
where
true.
they come from. So it's our duty to be teaching them. You see, they can go whatever, do whatever other things, but we will have done our job. Let's keep trying. We will done our job to say, look, I told you my food, I told you the way we dress, I told you all those kind of things, because I have seen some older guys who were born here, they are now in their 30s. They will travel all the way to Malawi, they will travel all the way to Ghana, to the village, wanting to learn about their tribe, because they feel like all these years I was shortchanged because I wasn't taught fully about where I come from. I wasn't taught fully about my culture. Even if you look at the African American guys in America, most of them are now taking citizenship. in Gambia, in you
True.
know, because you will find that as a human being, there is a point where you really need to know where you belong. So I think as parents here, although it might be difficult, but let's always try our best to tell our children who they are, who we are. You see, so that's my contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Brian.
I think, Brian, I'll just respond to that. I think we need sometimes, I think the way I look at things, I'm not one person who wants to be. So I don't want parents, African parents, to feel like sometimes they are being judged or we are being too hard on them. Sometimes there are difficulties in this country. We've come from our countries, our backgrounds are so difficult. People are working day in, day out because you are the breadwinner at times. Some of us grew up in the village, and we are the ones that everybody is looking up to. And there are times when we can't be there all the time. But one thing which I always say to a parent is never feel like you are a bad parent. Sometimes circumstances make it so hard for you to parent. And sometimes with our children, no matter how much you tell them, because we always tell them about our culture, about our things, but then come teenage years, like what Chennai was saying, they may want to get their own identity. But what I've noticed most of the times, that teenage adolescence here, it can be difficult. And if we don't manage it well, we can lose our children. But most of the times, when you see these children, then after, they've gone to uni or, they've done everything, they are now working, they now want to know their culture. So it's a matter of sometimes of patience that this is a phase, it's a stage. When you understand the stages of development for a child, you understand that sometimes our children can go through those phases and they will come out. I was talking to somebody, I've got a teenager. There was a time when he was just locking himself out in his room. He didn't want to do anything with us. To say, let's go out, he didn't want. Let's do this, he didn't want. And I was like, what am I raising here? But I didn't stop saying, let's do this. I still gave him space. There was a time when he came out of that phase, and we are now all going out. All of a sudden, he says, Mommy, can we go for a movie together? So imagine if sometimes as African parents, when we get to that teenage stage, we then become so hard that we close the communication with our children. They then can't approach us because then sometimes the discussions they are bringing, we dismiss them. We say, no, we don't do that in this house. I always say, let's be open with these children. Let them feel free to come and talk about anything, whether it's sexuality, whether it's sex they've had, whether it's anything they've had. When you have that open communication, you will find that they will come back at some point because they know that my parents, no matter what happens, my parents still love me. My parents are the only ones that can, that believe in me. Nobody else does. So it's understanding again the phases, and what we see with African parents, those phases can be difficult for us to navigate, to understand that sometimes our children are just going through hormones, they are finding their identity, but we still need to make sure that our hands are open to them.
Wow, thank you so much. That's a lot. That's a lot there. I'm just looking at the chat. I like a comment that Babs put in there about there is something to be said about pride. within our community. I wonder whether our pressure to dilute our culture is rooted in the colonial damage and the dysfunctional narrative of culture being bad, shameful. So we have some work to do. I like that. And I think there's quite a lot of truth in that. Because we are so programmed, and that's why I have these conversations all the time about especially parents who have social services involvement. If something is your culture and the concern being raised is due to a lack of understanding about what that culture is, then make sure people know about it. Explain. So that's not to say you deny your culture. That's not to say, you have to lose your culture if it's not harmful. Because it's, some of the times we talk here all the time about some of our values and practices, they can be harmful to children. So we're not talking about those harmful practices. We're talking about other cultural elements that are quite positive, that are about our identity, that mean a lot to us. If you're dealing with, say, for example, professionals who might not understand, then, it's your job to help them to understand your culture. You have to explain and not take offense. Because I think one of the biggest issues for us is that we take offense when you're asked about something. So you don't expect someone to know and understand your culture or where you come from or how and why you do certain things. Then explain to them and help them to understand. Because then that removes the risk element. I always talk also a lot about sometimes people are afraid of what they don't understand. So rather than asking the question about actually, you do it this way, why do you do it? They immediately think, if I ask, I'm going to offend that person. Then you be the person to offer the explanation before they ask. Because, we've got this thing of, racism, offending people, and you have people who are afraid to actually ask the questions because they think if I ask, I might be seen as being racist, I might be seen as being, offensive. Then offer the explanation if you sense that someone is not understanding something about your culture, rather than actually, giving up your culture. That's what we're saying. As Brian was saying, Asians are not afraid to represent who they are. People who Muslims are not afraid to showcase their religion and how they pray. That's why you see, even for us Christians, there are prayer rooms in workplaces, in public places. They are for both Christians and Muslims a lot of the times because they are religious. Or there are prayer rooms for anybody really that wants to take that time. But you don't hear it so much about Christians. It's mostly about Muslims because they are very proud and will openly say, even with all of the negative things that are sometimes said about Islam and stuff, they are still very proud of their religion and they will happily showcase it. So there is, and I agree with Babs, there is maybe an element there of us shrinking ourselves. It's something that I talk about all the time, that there is an element in us, Black people, African people, of wanting to shrink ourselves to fit in. And maybe that's a conversation that we need to have for another time. I'm just mindful of the time. And as we always do on this platform, we could literally talk all night, but I'm sure people want to sleep and go to work tomorrow. So I'm going to bring it to a close. As I said, Toby has put that the link to the video in the chat for those who wanted the link to the video. It's in the chat. And also we've put the link to the feedback form. I'm going to just put it in again because it's way up there now. I've just put that in the chat again. If you can give us some feedback for those who haven't given us feedback. And also just to let you know, you will all be pleased to know that next week, our speaker is actually going to be Tammy. So please come because it's going to be amazing. You've all heard already. She brings a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, around social work. So she will be coming to talk to us next week around emotional abuse and neglect. So it's going to be another very insightful conversation. So do come along. I will be sending out the flyer in the next coming days. Please invite others to come. We learn together. We continue to work to grow together. So thank you all so much for attending and look forward to seeing you next week. Tobi, thank you so much for such a really educational and insightful presentation today. So grateful to have you here, as I'm sure everybody else is. For those who weren't able to attend or to come for the full session, this has been recorded, so will be uploaded to YouTube. And I will send out the link once it's on YouTube. But for previous sessions, please do go on our YouTube page and you will see that video